Succumb to your pride.
So a lot of people apparently need to be taught just exactly how a Yu-Gi-Oh economic system and market works. Now that sounds like a lot of stuff, but really it's just basic supply and demand. So over this video I'm going to quickly go over some important aspects, and hopefully you will by the end be able to understand some of the key interactions within the Yu-Gi-Oh economy, why certain cards are expensive, why cards are not expensive, etc, etc. So beginning, a lot of people will say, for example, stupid things such as, oh well, Dart Destroyer isn't worth $100, people make it that much. Now that's a key thing that a lot of people would say, oh, this card isn't really worth that much, people make it worth that much. Now this is partly true. Value is something that is quite subjective. So it doesn't matter if it's a piece of paper, a rock, or a Yu-Gi-Oh card. But that card isn't worth that much, it's just paper, it's just ink. You would be right in saying that its real value is indeed probably just a couple of cents. You're forgetting supply and demand. There is a limited supply of Dart Destroyers. There is a high demand for Dart Destroyers. Dart Destroyer is therefore going to be worth an amount of money, even though the card's real value is probably just a couple of cents to print. Just because you don't think something is worth that much, the reality is, like we've said, if there is a consistent demand for something, it will therefore be worth that much whether you like it or not. Now people would say like, oh, that's a ridiculously overpriced card, I would never pay that much for cardboard, cardboard should not be worth that much. That's fair enough, but you're wrong when you say it's not worth that much. As the supply goes up, the demand goes down. Therefore, the price drops. And as the demand goes up and the supply goes down, the price increases. It's very simple stuff. How can we narrow down just exactly how much a card is going to be worth? Well, the first thing you have to understand is, like we already explained, supply and demand is of course an important factor. But there's going to be of course other surrounding issues at hand. For example, you might have what may be called real values and artificial values. When the card sort of averages out, settles down, that's sort of what you could call the real value of the card. Artificial value would be something a little bit less common, and a good example of an artificial value would be something like sneak peeks and release weekends. Generally on these days, cards will be worth a lot more than they're actually worth. That's because the supply is only just getting into the market, there's a very limited amount of cards available, and slowly as people pull more and more, the prices go down day by day. But on the first day, if you really want your card that much, you're gonna have to pay hype price, and this is what you could call an artificial value. Supply went down, demand went up, and the card price increased. Flood prices. What exactly is a flood price? A good example of this would be Necros on the July ban list. When the ban list hit in July, every single Necros player on the face of this planet now had one extra Necros of Bryanak. If you're going to sell this Necros of Bryanak, you're going to have hundreds of people trying to undercut you to get rid of that Necros of Bryanak. And that's what you would call an overabundance of supply. Too much supply, therefore demand goes down, therefore the price drops. And Bryanak plummeted, of course. In this little tiny segment of Yu-Gi-Oh! Economics, I hope you take some benefit from this, and comment, like, subscribe as usual, and I shall see you next time.
Succumb